and burn.
Hey everybody. So tonight I am looking to discuss Anthony Kiedis' Scar Tissue. Now this came out way back in 2004 and Jesus Christ is there a lot to say. This video is 100% because of Dan Frampton's video that he did about Kiedis, I think like at this point about a week or so back. I'll put a link up to his video in the description. He did a really good job of discussing how greasy and gross Kiedis is. And it was because of his video, like I said, that prompted me to go out and grab a hold of this that I was able to find at my local Lee's for like $4. So it wasn't really much of an investment or much of a loss because unfortunately there are some things that really make him creepy as hell. So this video is essentially going to be broken up into 3 parts, which is the good, the bad, and the ugly. I'll start with the good, okay? The good starts now, the 56-second mark. And the good is that, my God, has he had the wildest life. He's dated Sinead O'Connor. He dated Nina Hagen or Nina Hagen, depending on how you want to pronounce her name. He knew Courtney Love. Well, he didn't know that he knew Courtney Love before she was famous, but when him and his then girlfriend would be too banged up on drugs and pills in order to find their way back home, Courtney would occasionally give them a ride back because she was stripping somewhere at this point. He was an actor. He did a handful of commercials. He did an after-school special when he was a kid. He was in F.I.S.T., but the Union dude from way back, starring Sylvester Stallone in the movie Kiedis. At I think age 15, played Stallone's son in the movie Fist. So that's really cool. What else is amazing about this book that I thought was really, really fun? When he was a kid, his dad's girlfriend ended up breaking up with his dad so that she could date Sonny Bono. And Sonny Bono took quite a liking to Kiedis when Kiedis was a little kid, to the point where he let Kiedis use his address so Anthony could go to a better school because Sonny Bono's address was in a better district. Then some of his dad and his dad's buddy Spider, their sort of crazy Hollywood drug parties that they would throw at Kiedis' dad's place. Keith Moon would be there. Keith Moon, the drummer from The Who, and he would do his best to make sure that Anthony was having as much fun as like a 10 to 12-year-old kid could be having at a party like this. So he had Keith Moon looking out for him. Cher babysat him. What else was there? Was there anything else? Sinead O'Connor, Nina Hagen. Oh, yeah, that's right. He dated Sofia Coppola too. And he has had like the wildest life, the ridiculous amount of drug use in this book. It reminds me, it's so reminiscent of Manson's book. Like if you snorted a line of cocaine every time he talks about coke or heroin in this, especially China White, you would overdose by like the 40th page. His drug usage was uncanny. He ended up picking up Hep C. That's in the foreword in the book. He discusses how he picked up hepatitis C as the result of it. But he figured out a bunch of holistic ways to get rid of it. It seems like he has eradicated the Hep C from his body, apparently. So that was kind of cool too. But what else? Oh yeah, that's right. Flea, the bass player from his band, the Chili Peppers. Flea was in Fear for a while, for anybody that didn't know. And Lee Ving was kind of getting tired of Flea sort of hovering between the sort of then forming Chili Peppers and going back to Fear. Sort of bothered Ving somewhat. At one point, Anthony, I can't remember what happened to him, but Keith Morris, the vocalist from the Circle Jerks, he had to fill in for Anthony and do the vocals for whatever the set was at whatever club they're at that Anthony was unable to perform at for some reason or another. If I had to guess, I can't remember. He was probably banged up on drugs and alcohol and pills and shit. What else did I want to say that was really fun? Oh, yeah, that's right. On page 273, Nina Hagen's quote on page 273 about clothing was really, really fun. Where is it? So Anthony was going through Nina's closet and he found this kick-ass jacket. And he said, when I came across a valuable exotic jacket, this is really cool, I said. Take it. You can have it, she said. He's like, I can't take this. This is the nicest jacket you have in there. That's why I gave it to you, she explained. It's always important to give things away. It creates good energy. If you have a closet full of clothes and you try to keep them all, your life will be very small. But if you have a full closet and someone sees something they like, if you give it to them, the world becomes a better place. And I absolutely love that. I love thinking like that. That's just so exciting and so positive. It's just so much fun. And then what he had to say when he was playing, when the Red Hot Chili Peppers were playing at Lollapalooza, Um, it seemed like all the bands there were helping out. Like the guys from Pearl Jam would be sort of messing around with the guys in the Red Hot Chili Peppers, and then so and so would be on the side of the stage, sorry, to see another band perform, and then so and so from band A would fill in for somebody from band B whose bass player was sick or something. And I really liked like that overall sense of community that Lollapalooza used to have. So I thought that was really fun as well. But then, unfortunately, the book very quickly sort of falls into the category that I would say the bad. And what I was led to believe from what I've heard over the course of time regarding this book is that there's a whole pile of stories about him having sex with underage chicks. And in this book, there was only one in here that bothered me. There was one other point, I can't remember who it was, he talks about when she was 16 and he was dating her when he was over 18. But the most troubling one in this book is at one point he he met this chick. She said she could get him drugs, and they started sleeping together. And they were sleeping together, I think, for a few days. When she told him that her father was the chief of police from whatever town she was in, she ran away from home, and the entire town or city or whatever was looking for her, and that she was 14. And it was at this point that Kiedis was like, "Whoa, what the fuck? You're 14?" He's like, "Jesus, man, we've been fucking for days now." And so, that sucks and everything. And I'm like, but at least it seems like he was shocked. And then he says the very next line, he's like, "So we had sex one more time." And I mean, look, I get it. You can be jail baited. That shit can happen, okay? But once it's established that the person is as ridiculously young as 14, you don't fuck them again. So what Anthony did was he put her on a bus and sent her home. But again, not before having sex with her one more time. And that's just so gross. And I'm not trying to virtue signal here. Like, I'm not trying to climb up on some social soapbox, like looking down on predatory men. Fucking 14? I mean, okay, yeah, she could maybe look a little older. I guess she probably did. But once her age has been established as being in fucking grade 9, you don't put your dick in her again. You just don't do that. But that's exactly what he did. So that would be sort of categorized as the bad. But then comes the ugly. And the ugliest part about this book here is his dad introduced him to drugs when he was 11. His dad got him high for the first time when he was 11. And he used to share all his drugs. Everything his dad was getting his hands on, he would share with Anthony. If he was Tuinals, weed, LSD, whatever it was. And if I can find, there it is. I don't know if you can see that well enough there or not, but that are photos his dad took of the first time that he let Anthony get high with drugs that he supplied him with. So Anthony was 11 when he was getting high on the regular, as well as his dad set it up so the girl he was banging, his dad was dating some 18, 19-year-old, and he set it up so Anthony at 11 could have sex with her. And I'm thinking to myself, like, what 18 to 20-year-old person, regardless of their gender, wants to fuck an 11-year-old? Okay? Like, I don't care how much I liked my girlfriend, but if she's like, "Yo, could you have sex with my little sister or little brother?" I'd be like, "Fuck you, I'm going to the police." So, yeah, his dad sets this up. This chick fucks him. This causes Anthony to sort of become obsessed with women, at which point his father then continues to let him take Polaroids of the other girls that his dad would be fucking in various states of undress. And that guy Spider that I mentioned earlier at the start of this, he would load Anthony up. By the time Anthony was 13, 14, he always had a giant fucking tie stick on him or a big bag of premium weed. And he wasn't even in high school yet. And Spider would give him this huge pile of drugs that Anthony, at like age 12 or 13 or whatever, he would have to make sure that this would last him the entire summer. Um, yeah, and it's just gross. Like, it's almost like on one hand you could argue that he never really stood a chance because you shouldn't be having sex with 18, 19-year-olds when you're 11. But then on the flip side of that coin, everybody becomes an adult, and Anthony Kiedis knows the difference between right and wrong. And once he established that chick was 14, he definitely should not have been having sex with her. But then that's not even the grossest thing about this book. The grossest thing about this book is the fact that Anthony Kiedis left out his sex assault conviction. In 1990, he was charged and convicted, I believe, of sexual battery. He smacked his crotch off like some chick's face when he was like dancing in her, and he like made sure that her face bounced off his crotch a bunch of times. And he was convicted. Like I said, not charged and then the charges were later dropped. He was convicted, I believe, 100% of, I think it was sexual battery. That is not in here at all. The only thing they talk about in 1990 was how they're getting ready to release Blood Sugar Sex Magic, and how massive that record would be with the whole. And the Nina Hagen about the giving something away. That's where the song "Give It Away" came from. Was that sort of attitude where if you have something somebody else likes, give it away, give it away, give it away, give it away now, right? It's kind of clever, but there's not a single mention. And the reason that bothers me so much is because if I was wrongly convicted of any crime, I don't care if I was convicted, I don't know how you'd be convicted of this, but if I was convicted of jaywalking and I didn't do it, and I had an opportunity to write a book and tell my story because suddenly I'm Captain Cool and everybody wants to hear about me, trust me, I'm talking about my jaywalking conviction. Let alone if you're convicted of a sex crime that you did not commit, when you get the opportunity to write a book about your life, you discuss that sex crime and how you had nothing to do with it. And yet it is completely omitted. And when you omit something, a lot of the times that's an admission of guilt. And that turned me off the book completely. The fact that he didn't talk about that at all. When you don't talk about the crime you were convicted of, it's because you're guilty of committing the crime. It's that simple. But yeah, I think that's where I'm going to leave it. Because this is pushing like 11 and a half minutes. So this is a really compelling read. He's led a wild life. Like the amount of drugs, like, it's amazing he's still alive. But then you toss in the 14-year-old that he was fucking, and then the fact that he doesn't even talk about his sex crime conviction. It leaves a really bad taste in your mouth, or at least it left a really bad taste in my mouth. Yeah, I'm done. So like always, thank you so much for hanging out with me for almost 12 minutes while I discussed Anthony Kiedis', I believe it's a 2004 biography, Scar Tissue. Like always, if you like this review or you like this book, don't forget to go out and do something nice for somebody. But like always, never forget that the world is a way better place because you are in it. I'm getting out of here. But before I do, point out on the back, it says how, blah, 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 whether it's recollecting the influence of the beautiful, strong women who have been his muses. See, whenever any dude refers to the women around them as being strong and beautiful, there's a good chance something's up. And this book is certainly no exception. It says it right on the back. Strong and beautiful women. Strong women. Because, he doesn't abuse women. He sees women as being strong. Yeah, whatever. I'm getting out of here. You guys are amazing. Have a good night.